Welcome to my channel. In this video, we hear Diddy's ex-security, one of them, Roger Bonds, talking about how Diddy mistreated women. He was in the inner circle with P. Diddy back in the day. Well, he was touring the world with him. Now he's saying, listen, I have diabetes, and that was my excuse to not be around you that often because I was sick of what you were doing. I had to make so many excuses for how you were treating people, not only Cassie, but other people. As you come onto the page, kindly hit the like bell and subscribe if you haven't done so as yet. Now let's get into the video.
Comes a time when you're in a situation that may seem like a good situation, but if you're not waking up happy, or if you're disgruntled, or you really don't want to be around that person, you find every excuse to get out of there. And I got diabetes. So my excuse was, I can't be with you every day. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm losing weight. I'm doing that. But in reality, it was, I was sick. I was sick of you. I was sick of everything that was going on around you. I was sick of having to cover up everything that you did. I was sick. Cassie spoke on it. She said, yeah, I jumped on it. I jumped in between it. That wasn't the only time. It was other times. And it was other people.
So Roger Bonds is the latest person to jump ship. So Diddy is in a world of trouble because all these people, if any case for SA ever goes to trial, all these people are going to be testifying against P. Diddy. And he realizes how much he is in danger of going to jail. Now, Suge Knight put out a little podcast the other day, and he was saying Diddy is welcome to be in his cell. So let me tell you, a lot of people are going to throw him under the bus. It's a reckoning. His day has come. All the dirt that he has done to people and all the mistreatment and maltreatment, it's karma time. His karma has rolled around. I'm just waiting for Justin Bieber to speak out because at the time it's alleged that he SA'd that little child. He was only about 13 or 14, somewhere in that area. He was a child and he spent a whole day with Diddy, and people are saying that's when it happened, that he SA'd this child who could not look him in the face anymore. Allegedly. He stopped being around him. Even Diddy asked him, why did you stop being around me? And he was making all kinds of excuses. I'm going to do a video on that next. But he could hardly look him in the face. And little Beaver at the time was just stuttering. I said, look at this. There's something happened to this child that he cannot look this grown man in the face. He was so ashamed of whatever happened. You know, for a lot of boys, if something happened to them, any SAN, they will not tell, and they are ashamed. And I'm going to tell you guys something. If anything happened to you on that level, you're not to be blamed. So please speak out. Tell somebody. Shame the person who did it to you. So if it did happen, I'm waiting for Justin Bieber to speak out. Let's get on with this. But let's get on with this video about Roger Bonds talking about P. Diddy.
Comes a time when you're in a situation that may seem like a good situation, but if you're not waking up happy, or if you're disgruntled, or you really don't want to be around that person, you find every excuse to get out of there. And I got diabetes. So my excuse was, I can't be with you every day. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm losing weight. I'm doing that. But in reality, it was, I was sick. I was sick of you. I was sick of everything that was going on around you. I was sick of having to cover up everything that you did.
So Diddy have a lot to worry about because Roger Bonds was very close in his circle. He saw a lot of stuff that he did not speak on before. He is holding a lot of secrets for Diddy. So Diddy have a lot to worry about if this case ever go to court. Any case concerning SA or trafficking, he would be in a lot of trouble if the case ever hits the courtroom.
I was sick. I was sick of you. I was sick of everything that was going on around you. I was sick of having to cover up everything that you did. I was sick. Cassie spoke on it. She said, yeah, I jumped on it. I jumped in between it. That wasn't the only time. It was other times. And it was other people.
So he said, Cassie jumped on it. Cassie jumped and retrieved it. So what did Cassie retrieve? Someone, I forgot who it was. I think it was Gene Deal, said that Cassie really was like the mop-up girl. She cleaned up a lot of mess for Diddy. And another person said she was like his slave. That's why you always saw her with her head down and carrying his luggages. But let me tell you, whatever the relationship they had, she had more to tell. Trust and believe, everything was not told in those court documents. When she filed that lawsuit, everything was not in there. More was going to come out in court. That's why he paid her within 24 hours. And I suspect he paid her a lot more than she wanted, okay? Just for him to be sure that she wasn't going to talk. He's not sure. He's not sure she's not going to talk because from my understanding, she did not sign an NDA. The ball was not in his court for him to make any demands on Cassie and her lawyer. So I doubt it very much if she signed an NDA. And another thing, the New York District Attorney got him on the radar because when Cassie mentioned that SA in the filing documents, when she was suing him, let me tell you, once you mentioned the person was a minor and they were trafficked and SA, that trafficking that she put in those documents was enough to alert the New York District Attorney. So they got Diddy in their radar. Right now, they're figuring out how to get him. They just want people to come forward now and spill the beans on him. And a lot of people have been doing just so. I know they've been spilling the tea on the internet, but have they contacted the New York District Attorney? I don't know. That's another story. I don't know if they have done so. If they have done so, it's not disclosed because when the New York District Attorney or any other district attorney is trying to formulate a case and get the evidence together in order to arrest that person, mum's the word. They don't let it be known. So Roger Bonds said he was sick of Diddy brutally assaulting and attacking people. And this is coming from a guy who was feared on the streets. So for him to say that he was tired of him brutalizing people, you got to understand that this man who was supposed to be this tough guy was sick of Diddy brutalizing people. You can understand the level of brutality that he did because Roger Bonds was feared on the streets. But I believe mainly he was talking about women. Diddy abusing women, not only Cassie. So a lot of men who don't have daughters, when they start getting their grandchildren, and the grandchildren, some of them happen to be girls, then they realize, you know what? Some men can be doing the same thing to my little granddaughter when she becomes old enough to start dating and get married, etc. And they find a conscience. And I think that's what's happening to Roger Bonds. Because now his karma came back to him in so many different ways. So what I think he's trying to do is right a wrong that he saw, that he intervened at one point, he said, in one of those instances where Cassie was being beaten. But there were other instances where he wasn't around. But he never reported it to the authorities, so it continued to happen. All those who stood around and saw this young woman being beaten, every single week, she would get a beating. That's what she says, almost every week. And they stood around, they saw it, the employees knew about it, did not report it. So Diddy was free to reign on this terror that he waged on Cassie. And so those people now are feeling guilty. And I have a feeling, if ever any one of these cases goes to court, all these people are going to testify against him. Just to unburden their baggages, because there's one thing knowing that this man was a horrible monster to Cassie. It's another thing keeping it a secret. They don't want to keep that secret anymore. They're dying to talk. Trust me. They can't wait for any case to go to court and they be called to testify. They can't wait. So he said there were multiple women, not only Cassie. So the other girlfriends were not lying. We have someone who closely worked with Diddy as a guard, as a security in his camp, saying that yes, it is true. He did physically assaulted these women. The key words are, that wasn't the only time. There were other people. So Roger Bonds said now that his name is involved, he's going to tell the truth. So what he was referring to when he said his name is now involved, his name was mentioned in those papers because Cassie said Roger Bonds try to stop it. His security tried to stop it, Roger Bonds, and she named him. So now he has no choice than to speak the truth, come out and speak the truth. Because if this ever goes to court, what's going on with Diddy and this essay and trafficking, because trafficking is the key here. Because Cassie may have pulled back on her lawsuit, but the trafficking, the New York DA don't need her to go after Diddy for trafficking. So I guess he figured he's going to get ahead of it before it hits the court. If it hits the court, and he's going to tell his truth so that the public would know his side. So Roger Bonds said that he held his tongue against Diddy all this time for the sake of Diddy's children. He didn't want to expose them to all this. But I'm saying that a lot of times you try to protect the kids by not exposing the parent, but guess what? He could be doing the same to the kids. Who knows how he treats those kids? So this is why it's always good to tell the truth, tell what's happening. If you see an essay that's occurring or violence on a particular person plus the essay, it's good to talk about it. Tell the authorities about it. Expose the person, especially when you have essay, violence, and trafficking. Now, Roger Bonds has his own Waterloo because for 13 years now, his son is being held in an African prison. He says every month, every couple of months, they may have a little hearing and then it has to be stopped and then they postpone it, next year. And so this has been going on for 13 years now. So his son has not been found guilty, but the trial is ongoing for 13 years. It's not like the U.S. system. You have a right to a speedy trial and trial by jury. He's being held in Namibia. There's no jurors, no jury. It's just the judge that's going to try him. So in the wake of all that, now you guys can see why he wants to do the right thing by all these women that Diddy assaulted and brutalized over the years, because now I guess he has a come to Jesus moment where he's saying, you know what? Now the shoe is on the other foot. Now I got to go through all this stuff with my son and it's unjust and unfair. What about these women where all this stuff was happening to them, all this unjust and unfair stuff, and nobody spoke up. Now I want somebody to speak up for my son. So now the shoe is on the other foot. Now he sees that karma is coming around in its own way. So now he's coming forth and he is willing to expose Diddy. Now, I saw an interview with him where he said the trial is still ongoing and there's no resolution as yet as to whether his son is guilty or not of murder. Okay? Now, in this article, it says that, and this article is by the Shade Room, it says that his son was recently found guilty of the crime of murking this white boy in that country. And you guys know, in those countries, the penalty for murking somebody is either life or they will take your life. But usually it's life in prison. He also stated that he was very disappointed in Diddy for not looking after his son or looking out for his son in this situation. I guess he was expecting Diddy to fly over there and pay the authorities. You know how you do that payoff under the table and then everything goes away. So is that why he is coming out now and exposing P. Diddy? Because Diddy didn't help his son get out of that prison over there in Namibia? So Roger Bonds is feeling kind of salty. He said, listen, at one time, I would have taken the bullet for that man. But where's the loyalty? When it comes to my son, where's the loyalty? He goes on to say, you want to tell me I should have loyalty to someone who couldn't say, here's $100,000. I may not be able to go over there, but here's $100,000 for you to get the best legal team. So with all the money that P. Diddy have, he couldn't even take $100,000 to help Bond's son. That's so disappointing because this man was traveling the world with him. He was his right man, well, at least one of his right-hand men when it comes to security. Like Gene Deal was one of his right-hand men. So he says he couldn't give me $100,000 to make sure my son got the best legal team. But he's going to take $3 million and give a total stranger $3 million. He said, get the F out of here. My story, my life. Name one person who's been with Diddy who is well off. Name one person. So he ended his post by saying, Two Faces, the documentary. So now people are wondering if he has a documentary in the works. Maybe he's trying to sell his story to one of the major networks and do a documentary about his involvement with Diddy, because I believe he was even closer to Diddy than Gene Deal, because he traveled the world with Diddy. He said he traveled so much with Diddy that he didn't even make time for his own family, didn't see his children growing up. And now that's the one regret he has, that he would have made more time for his children, because now one is sitting in a prison in Namibia, which is one of the countries on the African continent. So I'm praying for his son, because prison in those foreign countries is not easy. Sometimes the prisoners sleep on dirt floors. There's no bed. Roaches everywhere, rats everywhere, a dark hole. It's not like the American jails and prisons. So I'm praying for his son. And I also pray that Diddy gets his day in court and he really gets due justice, whatever it is that's coming to him for all the wrong that he did to a lot of people. Anyway, guys, drop your comments. Don't forget to hit the like bell before you leave and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.